And now to the Supreme Court, which today handed down two major decisions involving subpoenas for President Trump's taxes and financial records. Now, for years, the president has fought to keep those documents private. And tonight, the court said that Congress, a New York prosecutor, and the public may still have to wait a bit longer. Here's Devin Dwyer.
On the final day of its term, a unanimous Supreme Court declared President Trump is not above the law, rejecting his claims of absolute immunity from subpoenas for his financial records.
The president is just like anybody else when it comes to certain kinds of legal actions. And here, just because he's the president doesn't permit him to block this investigation from going forward.
In a separate decision, the justices chided Congress, saying its request for Trump's personal records may be too broad.
What it did say is that Congress didn't do its homework in figuring out exactly what it needed the documents for and what its power was in requesting those documents.
House Democrats said they needed the documents to help write ethics and anti-corruption laws. A New York prosecutor wants 10 years of Trump's tax returns to probe possible fraud. In a pair of 7-2 decisions written by Chief Justice John Roberts, the subpoenas remain in play but must be reviewed again by lower courts.
Well, the rulings were basically starting all over again, sending everything back down to the lower courts, and you start all over again. And so from a certain point, I'm satisfied. From another point, I'm not satisfied.
On Twitter, the president blasted the cases as a political prosecution. He was fuming in private, sources tell ABC News, upset his appointees to the court, Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch, failed to strike down the subpoenas. The White House press secretary had a different take.
So they essentially laid out a roadmap. His justices did not rule against it.
But on the New York grand jury subpoena, the justices were unanimous. Roberts writing, "No citizen, not even the president, is categorically above the common duty to produce evidence when called upon in a criminal proceeding."
The Supreme Court has now said, guess what? It is constitutionally permissible to investigate a sitting president, and that has the backward implications that it is also potentially constitutionally permissible to indict a sitting president.
In a separate case, Roberts wrote that Congress has the power to seek personal records of a president, but not without a careful analysis, one he said still needs to be done. Without limits on its subpoena powers, Roberts warned, Congress could exert an imperious control over the executive branch and aggrandize itself at the president's expense.
The Supreme Court, including the president's appointees, have declared that he is not above the law. The path that the Supreme Court has laid out is one that is clearly achievable by us in the lower court, and we will continue to go down that path.
President Trump is the first in modern American history to not publicly release tax returns or divest from business interests while in office.
While I'm under audit, I would not give my taxes. There's no law whatsoever.
The IRS has said Trump can release his taxes at any time, but the president has dismissed the need.
And Devin Dwyer joins us now from the Supreme Court. Devin, we just heard the president there dismiss the need to provide his financial records. So what do these rulings really mean as far as whether that could still happen before Americans actually vote in November?
Lindsay, it's still quite possible that President Trump will have to turn over these records, including his tax returns. But today's ruling means it's much less likely that will happen before November. House Democrats now need to go back to court to justify those subpoenas. And even in New York, where legal experts say that prosecutor has a much stronger case, well, grand jury proceedings, as you know, Lindsay, are secret by law. And so the public, if that case moves ahead more quickly, will still not be able to get to see the documents.
And this was, of course, the final day of the term, and the court also handed down a major decision involving Oklahoma and Native American rights. Explain the ruling and also its significance.
Yeah, this was a big one, Lindsay. The Supreme Court today ruled that most of eastern Oklahoma, including the major city of Tulsa, are part of tribal land. Take a look at this map from a century ago. It shows the land that we're talking about here. Justice Gorsuch today had the opinion in the case. He was joined by the liberal justices. They said Congress 200 years ago created a reservation system in a treaty with Native Americans, and that treaty still applies today. As for the impact in this case, the court said when it comes to prosecuting tribal members for crimes, state officials no longer have jurisdiction. But Lindsay, tonight, more than anything, tribal leaders are celebrating this as a victory for Native American rights, saying they can govern themselves, and long overdue recognition that treaties matter. Lindsay?
Yeah, certainly a long time coming. Devin, thanks so much for your reporting.
You bet.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.